spears in the green dark. By the time the jungle goes silent, it's already too late. The jungle stank of blood and rot. Private Loro Tamati hadn't seen the sun in days. Moakoa's triple canopy jungle blanketed the world in a choking twilight, heavy with spores and mist. The firebase was long gone. The Orks had overrun it in minutes, engines shrieking, cleavers swinging, fire washing through the underbrush. He'd run, legs pumping, lungs screaming. He kept going until the screams behind him faded. That was 3 days ago. He hadn't slept since. Not really. Just jolted into panicked half-rests, laser gun clutched tight, body hidden beneath the roots of an overturned grove tree. He was waiting for the end. It came not with thunder but silence. The jungle was never quiet. It buzzed, breathed, and cracked with the weight of 1,000 crawling things. But now, nothing. Just a hush, unnatural and sudden, as if the trees themselves held their breath. Then they came. Not orcs, something else. They emerged from the green like living statues. 5 figures in black ceramite armor, each adorned with spears mounted across their backs. Real spears, not just symbols or stylized carvings. Their hafts were worn smooth by use, and the blades etched with kill marks, ritual glyphs, and salt-pitted from exposure to the sea. Adeptus Astartes, Space Marines, the Emperor's Angels of Death. Loro didn't breathe. The one in front, their leader, moved with the grace of a hunting shark, gaze sweeping the terrain like he was tasting the very air. His armor was patterned in deep volcanic bronze and reef black, matte lacquered against reflection. His helmet bore a T-shaped visor with water-shedding ridges along the jaw. He knelt, gloved hand brushing aside a smear of ash. Firebase was overrun here, he said, low and sure. One of the others pointed toward the collapsed remains of the command post. The detonation pattern matches Ork placement, crude, effective. Casualties? Asked another. Total, came the reply. Their voices were quiet but firm, accents wrapped in battle-tested reserve. Loro barely caught the names exchanged. Coata, towering and broad-shouldered, with a broken rebreather. Tiva, light-footed, twin spears drawn. And Captain Tevo, whose every movement seemed both precise and practiced. When they moved again, it was not with haste but ritual. Tevo's hand lifted. The squad gathered in close. Scouts were right, he said. The Orks have entrenched. They've looted the Chimera and the Vox dish. The beacon is still buried beneath the firebase wreckage. We retrieve it. And if it's compromised? We burn it, but first we see. Loro didn't know why he followed them. Maybe because he'd already died in that first assault. Maybe because these ghosts of the depth moved like salvation given form. Whatever the reason, his feet found their path behind them, and he followed into the green dark. The Obsidian Spears moved like they belonged to the jungle. They used no auspex. They listened, touched the earth, smelled the wind. One Marine scraped sap from a split vine and smeared it across his aquila to break up the outline. Another placed a vibro knife into the soil and paused, reading the tremor of distant Ork bikes through the blade. They made almost no sound. When they spoke, it was for purpose. No wasted breath. Loro trailed behind, not truly part of them, but not dismissed either. He felt more like a shade, watching, learning. They let him stay. Tevo even glanced his way once. "You know this jungle?" the captain asked as they passed a fungus-choked ravine. "I was born here," Loro whispered. "South Range, before the Greenskins came." "Then walk, watch, survive." That was it. That was enough. The Orks had turned the firebase into a crude fortress. Trenches hacked into the clay. Spiked barricades lashed together with vines and bones. Grot workers scurried between makeshift defenses, carrying crates of ammo on their backs or in their mouths. A looted chimera served as a crane, hauling scrap into place. The scent of fuel and singed fungus drifted on the air. Atop it all stood Gazra Banga, the war boss. A beast of rusted plates and bulging green muscle. His power claw was a pair of repurposed forklift arms bolted together, and he wore an ogrin skull as a pauldron. Each breath sounded like a broken Promethean pump. "Where's the Zoggin fightin'?" he bellowed. "I want some of them fancy spear boys for lunch." He punched a grot through a pile of scrap for bringing stale fungus bread. His boys laughed. Bunga roared louder. That night, the Obsidian Spears prepared. But they did not simply polish weapons or mutter litanies. They painted asterisk their faces beneath their helms with charcoal and volcanic ash. They etched the names of slain brothers into the hafts of their spears. Coata pressed his bare hand to a smooth stone and whispered an oath in Tuaruan, too soft for Loro to catch. It was war, but also ritual. Every movement had weight. Every weapon had memory. When the time came, Tevo stood over a map scratched into the dirt. "We enter through the east," he said. "Tiva, you take the flanks. Coata with me. Bolters after the beacon is secure. Silence before then." "And the human?" asked one. Tevo looked toward Loro. "He walks, he sees." No one questioned it. They struck like ghosts. The outer trench went quiet in under 5 minutes. No bolter fire, just the whisper of blades. A spear through a throat. A glaive splitting a knob's spine. Grots died without knowing death was upon them. When bolters did finally bark, they spoke in short, devastating phrases. Controlled bursts, nothing wasted. Tiva danced among razor wire and mud, his twin spears spinning like wind blades. Coata carved through a pack of boys with a ceremonial axe that looked too heavy for any man to lift, but it moved in his hands like an extension of thought. Loro from the tree line watched the war unfold not as chaos, but ceremony. The spears didn't rush. They advanced, each step measured, each target chosen. They chanted no litanies, but the rhythm of their violence told its own tale, a dance passed down from the sea forts of Tuarua to the jungles of Moakoa. Even the bolter strikes fell like drumbeats, sharp, intentional. Then the war boss charged. "Day boss is here." Banga ploughed through a bunker wall in a rain of shattered plasteel, power claw wide. Tevo turned just in time to parry the swipe with his glaive. Sparks burst as metal met ancient obsidian. The two titans locked weapons, one howling, the other silent. Loro saw it all in flashes. Tevo stepped left, drove the glaive down, cut Banga's leg. The orc screamed, swung wild. The claw caught Tevo's shoulder, shredding a pauldron. Blood, dark, not orc green, splattered the bunker wall. The captain staggered, then righted, then drove the glaive into Banga's throat. The war boss gargled oil and bile. The claw twitched once, then fell. Silence returned. The beacon was still there, crushed under rock, but its cogitator core intact. Tevo pried it loose one-handed, while the others burned the remains of the firebase. He said nothing of his wound. Loro finally stepped forward. You saved it," he breathed. Tevo looked at him. His helmet was off now, and his face bore the hard angles of volcanic stone. His skin was dark, scarred by war and ritual alike. Swirls of ink spiraled from his neck down across his collarbone, ancestral tattoos, not fresh blood. "Moakoa," Loro murmured. Tevo nodded once. The depth does not forget its sons. Loro stared at him. "I didn't mean to follow, I didn't want to die alone." "You didn't," Tevo said, "and you won't." He turned back to the jungle. This world still breathes. It needs warriors who understand it. Loro blinked. "You mean me?" "You survived, you watched, you learned." Tevo paused. "Perhaps one day you'll fight beside us, not behind." Weeks later, a thunderhawk landed near the surviving settlements of Moakoa. 4 obsidian spears emerged, one limping, his pauldron sealed with black iron. And beside them stood a boy, not in armor, but bearing the obsidian pendant of a spear's promise. Loro Tamati. He walked like one of them now, not because he had their strength, but because he had seen what strength truly meant. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you have enjoyed this story.